to know what is going on when it comes with your numbers. My mindset is you can only scale with numbers. So every time a lead comes in or every time a client is signed up, go set up a Zapier integration for that to automatically update a Google Sheet. It's an important one that I'm sure a lot of podcasts is on this topic, but it still doesn't take away from the importance, which is the mistake of not knowing your numbers. So one of the prerequisites before scaling is you need to know what is going on, specifically when it comes to with your numbers. And a lot of people fall into the trap of overcomplicating things when it comes to knowing your numbers. In the very beginning, the most fundamental the only two numbers you need to know to scale is just two things. Number one is cost per acquisition, essentially how much did it cost you to acquire a client, which is straight up it's your marketing divided by a number of clients you sign up. So you spend $10,000 to get 10 clients, your cost per acquisition is 1,000. That's the first number. And second is your lifetime customer value, aka how much is this client worth to you? If your average net attorney's fees is $5,000, then that is your lifetime customer value. That is the foundational numbers that you need to know before you even start spending money in marketing and scaling and automating all that stuff. Everything comes on the back end of knowing those two numbers. And then once you do know those two numbers, then marketing and scaling becomes really, really easy, honestly. A lot of it comes down to just be more aggressive and more liberal to spend more, especially as long as your ROI is at least 200%. That means for $1 in, you're getting $3 out or $2 profit. As long as you have that, then you're encouraged to go spend as much money as you can, to turning more of those $1 into $3 or $5 or even $8. This is what we do. So yeah, know your numbers at the foundation at that level. And I could even talk beyond that, how it could become more granular than that.
This was a big challenge for me as I grew my law firm because the data was all over the place. And I really needed to sit down and take some time to really focus and get in a way that I could make sense of it. For instance, there's a lot of numbers. There's a lot of reporting available out of my accounting package. I use QuickBooks. I know a lot of other people do QuickBooks Online, but I never knew how to get the most out of that. Now I turned to hiring a fractional CFO, and his entire job is to feed me these numbers so that I can evaluate the health of my business. And I think that's one of the best investments that I made in the firm, was hiring somebody that could help me get that 40,000 foot view. One of the things that he suggested that I do was to start to track how long it takes for a client when they sign up with our law firm until we are completed with their estate plan. So what's the average time creating an estate plan? And that proved to be some really valuable information. When we first started, our average was of 57 days start to finish, which is a long time. But when we dug into that and tried to understand where was the number coming from, we found a lot of the delay was in the client response, not our response, but in how quickly the client could turn around the data. So that helped us guide what we needed to do to improve things. I can tell you we've now cut that in half over the course of a year. So knowing your numbers provides valuable insight into the operation of your firm and helps you target where you need to be applying focus and interest to make it more efficient and ultimately more valuable.
Totally. And what I try to do is, at the very least, only minimum, I need 2 sets of numbers. The first set is our marketing numbers. Ideally, for each marketing source, I want these numbers. Number one, and I usually try to do this on a daily, weekly, and monthly, at the very least monthly, and then go from there. Number one is the cost. How much did it cost me to run ads from that specific source? Number two, number of leads, qualified leads or meetings. Every law firm is different. Some people just straight up, every lead that they get is qualified or is more or less should be qualified as long as you sign them up. So it should be leads. If you get a lot of unqualified leads, then I want to track the qualified leads. If your core marketing leads to meetings, great. I want to know how many meetings. The third number is your cost per lead, your cost per qualified lead, or cost per meeting. Again, depending on what works for you.
Yeah.
Number 4 is how many clients did you sign up? Number 5 is cost per acquisition, which is again the cost divided by number of clients you signed up. And number 6 is the ROI. The ROI is just simply the revenue that you made minus your cost divided by the cost times 100. That will give you a percentage. If you see, when you do that calculation that I just explained, if you see that number is over 200, that means you're doing something amazing. Go spend more money. If it's doing something below 200, you need to optimize more. If you're breaking even, then at that point, my mindset is, when did you start this campaign? If it's now you're like 3 months in, 6 months in, and you're still not profitable, or you're losing money, or you're breaking even, then that's cause for concern. But if you're in the first or second month, I would say, okay, maybe keep at it and just optimize. That's the things that I look for on marketing. And on the back end, as you said, for operations, all I try to do is just to get an updated P&L statement, profit and loss statement. And I use QuickBooks for this, QuickBooks Online. All my law firms, I know with clarity how much money is coming in, how much money is coming out. I look at the net, I look at the gross, see if things are growing. And as long as I have this macro view from the P&L statement, then just scale from there.
Maybe something we can talk about in a future episode, Sam, is the pushback that I get from a lot of attorneys when I talk about tracking your marketing costs is, wow, that's a lot of time and effort to get those numbers. How do you go about doing that? So that might be something we want to talk about. What's an optimal way of capturing that data?
At the very least, you start off with manually, and a Google Sheet is a good place to start, just to get a grasp. And the mindset is, every time something happens, every time a lead comes in, or every time a client is signed up, go set up a Zapier integration for that to automatically update a Google Sheet. Foundational, just a place to keep track the number of leads, number of clients. Once you get that, you get a grasp of what's going on. Then over time, you could create dashboards. We use HubSpot dashboards. At any point, I could go look at this month, last month, 3 months ago, from each source. How much is our cost? How much is our leads? What's our cost per lead? What's our cost per qualified lead? What's our cost per acquisition? All that stuff very granularly live in a HubSpot dashboard. But I would say for most people, just start off manually, Google Sheet. If you can set up a Zapier integration to be able to, bring that automatic into your data, great, and then build from there. And these are all things also is beyond most people, as you said. However, you don't necessarily need to be the one to set this up. You hire people that set this up. And one of the good perks of our program is we have people that are trained and do this and have exposed to this and are setting this up on a daily basis. Again, all these things that we share about, we try to share the knowledge and the information. But if you need help implementing, this is exactly what my Legal Academy does, is all this back-end growth help.